Punch now. Hurricane Tinubu, PDP and National Working Committee and governors meet next week to avert defections. Nigeria risks breakup without federal reform, says Anyanku. NSA plans joint security screening at airports. U.S. jails Nigerian who defrauded 400 elderly people of their inheritance. Kanu's trial. DSS submits Radio Biafra devices in court. NNPCL shake-up. MDs of Port Harcourt, Warri, Kaduna refineries sacked. Obi doesn't need PDP. Atiku coalition to defeat Tinubu, says NLC. And Chief of Army Staff vows tough offensive as Boko Haram kills 40 in Borno. Okay, which story are we starting with, YK? You want to start?
Yeah, the a 36-year-old Nigerian Okezie Ogbata has been sentenced to 97 months in prison. That's about 8-point-something years in prison for his role in a $6 million transnational inheritance fraud. They were writing letters to elderly people saying they had inherited this amount of money, but they had to pay some certain dues before they could get the money. Your family member who died overseas, he pleaded guilty, so he got. They'd done over $6 million from more than 400 victims. So they worked with other countries, the Portuguese prosecution service, and the Americans. So anyway, he's got his jail sentence.
Right. Okay, another story.
Nigeria up and down.
Okay, so I still have the Boko Haram story in Borno. Just so sad. They said in less than 24 hours, suspected Boko Haram terrorists killed over 40 people in multiple attacks across Borno State, raising down houses and a church. They said that these occurred in different locations between Kala, Balge, and Damboa local government areas. They said about 26 travelers ran over. They planted all these explosives on the road, and then 26 of them ran over it. And that also said that this happened traveling along the Kala Balge road to Gamboru Ingala local government area of Borno State. They said the tragic incident led to the death of 26 persons, which includes 6 males and 4 females and 6 children. Also, they said the terrorists attacked during a funeral, and they entered and they were shooting around the shots. They said it was a horrific experience according to those who witnessed the shooting and killings. And they also said that that they abducted as well, and that the identities and number of those abducted were still unknown as residents fled for safety. But the governor has come out. He said it's unfortunate that the renewed Boko Haram attacks and kidnappings in many communities are almost on daily basis without confrontation, signaling that Borno State is losing ground. And he also said that he urged that the federal government come to the aid of the state in every area possible. He said the state government currently needs whatever it takes to make sure that this thing is brought to an end. Anything it will take for Borno to have total peace, Borno State's government needs it. They've even taken over Chibok, the Chibok distance. So they are gradually taking over Borno State. Yeah,
but the other governor was
not careful.
As well. I think
once Lagbaja died, the army don't seem to have gotten themselves.
I just hope they're able to visit.
Yeah, I want to take the story of it's still within the security space, but the NSA, that's the Office of the National Security Advisor, has directed the implementation of a one-stop joint interest screening system across the Nigerian airports. He said that this came because there's a lot of complaints about the call for elimination of clumsiness when you get to the airport. There are many stops, there copped outing and streamlined security engagement with passengers in the aviation industry. A statement was given by his representative, Commodore Hamad Madawaki, at the Aviation Security Symposium. And he stated that the security people must work together. There's been several complaints about it, and I experienced it. I've even been at the airport when there seemed to be arguments between one agency and another agency as regards how to sort out travelers. And I feel this would be a very, very good one if implemented, where the NSA is directing that there will be a joint screening, less clumsiness, seamless process, this operation can be done and it will look well on Nigeria. So this is a good one. I can't wait for the implementation.
So the elder statesman, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, has renewed his urgent appeal for Nigeria to adopt true federalism, warning that the country risks disintegration if we continue under this recent or non-recent, this current centralized structure that we have. Speaking at the 14th Emeka Anyaoku lecture in Enugu, he said that only a new democratic constitution that reflects Nigeria's diversity can save it from the fate of other multi-ethnic states that have collapsed under similar strain. This country was more peaceful and developed faster when in the first 6 years where we had true federalism. So we've been calling about this for true federalism for a while. So I'm hoping that the government indeed. There's another story that actually caught my attention in the Punch, but I'll see if I can get to it. It's quite interesting. Moving on quickly now to Vanguard. Defections, PDP goes to court, says APC will soon implode. Lawmakers, telcos clash over kidnapping and phone-related crimes. Japa, we can't get doctors recruits, says Kwara government. Gowon Obasanjo governors orders to honor Clark in Lagos tomorrow. Trump's 100 days, how America first president is reshaping the world. And public sector deficit borrowing threat to $1 trillion economy, says Nasima. And Boko Haram kills 24 mourners, hunters in Adamawa, Borno, razed churches and houses. Okay. Which story?
Yeah, so I have the story of the Kwara state government about the JAPA. They're saying they can't get medical doctors. They say the Kwara state government has expressed serious concern over its inability to recruit medical doctors to effectively attend to thousands of patients across the government hospitals in the 16 local governments in the state. They said they went as far as increasing their salaries and allowances just so that, in fact, it's even more than what the federal government is giving so that they can be attracted. But still, they are still saying they want to do the DAPA syndrome and blunt refusal of doctors to work they are refusing to even work in the rural areas. They said there are 89 doctors in the state instead of, they're supposed to have about 200, but right now they just have just 89. And they said that, they are saying that in order to solve this fundamental problem, the government is working on sponsoring medical students at the universities so that they can encourage them to stay. And, they said, and I quote, we have presented prerequisites to the excellency on actually harvesting this selector from medical schools. So the state sponsors you as a student for maybe a year or 2 years. You pay back by working for the state for those 2 years. The state has invested in you. So they are trying to make sure that they retain these people so that they can give back.
I'd like to take a related story that I saw in Punch, because the federal government on Tuesday announced the cancellation of the bilateral education agreement scholarship program, describing it as unsustainable and inefficient use of our funds. If you recall, this scheme was such that Nigeria had a deal with certain countries, China, Serbia, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, Hungary, and a few other countries, where we take hundreds of our students abroad and we pay for their school fees, we pay for their upkeep. And if you recall, many students were complaining from these countries that Nigeria had not met their financial obligations. But the government is saying they're scrapping it because it's not sustainable. That money can be better used for people like this, these students, and support them, the medical system, because we need doctors in our country. So I totally agree with the government, although it's important that they meet their financial obligations at least until cancellation. It's been unfair for those students to continue to be stranded. I remember last year we took that story where lots of them were complaining that even their allowances were not paid by the government. And the government said, we can't afford it. Dollar has changed. Naira to dollar has changed, and we can't afford to continue to sustain that scheme going forward. Any other story in
Yes,
Vanguard?
I do have a story. The governor of Edo State, Monday Oborevwori, has already declared is going to deal with kidnappers and cultists. It talks tough as they demolish a building. So there's a building that was demolished yesterday. The building housed a group of kidnappers, and they kidnapped people there. They also did organ harvesting in that building. There was a lady that died in that building. Edo State. She said a young woman was killed in the process of organ harvesting, and that when they found out, the lady, well, the man was caught in Lagos. The case is in court, but as a means to deal with this decisively, the governor talks tough and says that when they find out any building being used by criminals, they would demolish those buildings. I know it's been done in the southeast before, and it's brought about improvement because people would not want, if the landlord knows they are using his own house for something, he will speak up and people around. So he said any other house that they find out is being used for kidnapping or for hunt and harvesting, any illegality, the house will be demolished. So he said it was a tough talk, and we're hoping that this would reduce crime.
Do you think demolishing the house is effective? Why not turn it into a
Taking
home
over
for
the
homeless
house.
people?
Right now,
Yeah.
anything to just stop that
Just-
thing is just
but
washing.
when you are
I share
demolishing-
your
You are
sentiment.
demolishing a building. There are so many homeless people in Nigeria.
Yeah.
That's probably-
There are so many orphans in Nigeria.
That's probably a level 2 conversation. So
Yeah.
the initial one is that I'll seize it
We
from
want
you, I'll
to stop
destroy
you.
it. Stop it first.
Yeah.
Then you're right. It should now be used for something better, more.
Because once you have destroyed it, you are going to use government funds to rebuild it.
rebuild it.
Anyway,
again.
yeah. So I
that's
guess
true.
you're
So
right.
these our leaders, they're just wasteful things.
Okay, any other story? Okay, I think that's all we can take
Take over
on
that.
Front Page Review this morning. When we come back, move on to our next segment. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.